So my next 6 star is guaranteed to be a banner character. Any banner at all, right? It can be a potential future banner, it can be Pickles banner, it can be Millennia's banner, whichever. But in Pickles banner, I am going to summon about 10 times, and if I do not get him, then so be it. Let it just be fate, right? But if I do get him, then I got him within 10 pulls, which is insane. So it's a win-win situation for me, right? Oh, the world is unfair. Now, if you think I was lying, take a look at this. Check out my summoning records, right? Thus spoke the body collie, 10 summons here. And on the next page, Clang of Sword and Armor. No lie, 10 summons. In fact, it was less than 10 summons, just 4 summons. Okay, but enough salt. Let's take a look at Pickles and a little bit of description on what he does, and as well as some of my recommendations for resonances as well. So starting with his ultimate, Thus Spoke Pickles. This is a single target attack that doesn't really do a lot of damage, but it's pretty decent. But the main selling point to his ultimate is it also increases the damage dealt by your allies by 30% for 2 whole rounds. However, if he is in the clarified topic status, the duration of this buff will actually be increased to 3 turns. So it's kind of important that you're juggling his clarified topic. And what exactly is clarified topic? I will clarify that topic in just a little bit. Now next, his first skill, Nihilism Abuse. This is just a single target damaging skill. For the most part, it's essentially quite useless because his damage output is not really that high, and the way that you want to build him is not always going to be so offensive, so crit focused. But then again, it really depends on your setup. You can use him with Tooth Fairy. I think he might be able to deal decent DPS. But for the most part, the way that I would recommend you to build him with his resonances is to be a little bit more supportive, which means a lot of damage taken reductions, a lot of defense, and a lot of critical defense as well. So this just does 500% mental damage and increases the damage dealt by another 125%, which is actually quite a lot when using this skill in the clarified topic status. Now as for his second skill, I don't know what this is called, Hedonism Implement. It is a mass attack that hits 2 targets for 300% mental damage, but the main catch is it dispels all stats up, positive statuses, and counters from the enemies, and this does not include shields, by the way. Shields are none of these effects. So you cannot dispel shields, but if you're also in a clarified topic state, this attack has an additional 25% penetration rate. Okay, so if you live under a rock and you do not know what clarified topic does, let me explain. So his entire usefulness starts at Insight 1. Prior to that, he is completely garbage. Now at Insight 1, when no action was taken this round, gives the caster 1 stack of clarified topic, and every time clarified topic is triggered, he would increase his own Moxie by 1. But the catch here is that no action has to be taken by him, but it doesn't mean that you cannot still move and merge his skill cards. So it is still possible for him to not take an action, but you can still give him Moxie by moving around his skill cards and merging his skill cards. Now as for Insight 2, I'm a little bit surprised about this, to be honest. Damage dealt plus 8% when the caster enters battle, and this is, in my opinion, a must-have. So at Insight 3, he gains 2 stacks of clarified topic immediately upon entering battle, and I'll go through what his Insight 3 really looks like in practice because I can already vision it, but I'm not sure that most of you guys can do so. But essentially, since he starts off with 2 stacks of clarified topic, you can effectively drop his ultimate on round 2, guaranteed 100% of the time, and that's going to give your entire team an additional 30% damage dealt buff that would actually last for 3 whole turns. That's right, on the second round only. So those were his skills, his ultimate, and his insights. Now let's move on to his portrays and see whether is it important or not to max his portray. So for the most part, all of his portrays just increase his damage output, except for his P2, which is increasing the damage dealt buff to 40% from 30%, which I think is not important at all. It's completely skippable. So for the most part, Pickles is very good at just P0. The moment you bring home from the pet shop, he's a good boy. Okay, now let me show you what I've crafted for his resonances, and this is, I think, probably going to be the best way that you can build his Reso 10 unless you want to focus a little bit more on crit rate, which I wouldn't really recommend. So here's the arrangement of all of the nodes, and you can see that I successfully squeezed in all the defensive nodes as well. All the swords, all the squares, they're all neatly chucked into this. So he has 17.5% damage taken reduction. He has 15% critical resist rate. He has 5% critical defense, which is like, I guess it's like the best that he has right now, I think. But that's not super important. He also has 129% reality defense and 146 mental defense, so he's very tanky. But like I said, you can definitely build him with a little bit more crit rate if you so choose to do so. So he can gain another 12% over here, he can gain another 5% over here, he can gain another 7.5% over here, which is a lot. And yeah, that's about it. So he can gain about another 25% crit rate over here based on his resonances, which would push his crit rate from 10.5% to about 35%, which is a lot. It is a lot, but the thing is you're going to be foregoing a lot of defensive stats, which may or may not be a good thing depending on how you're using him, right? Now, in terms of Psychube preference, I do not really have one for him, so I'm not super sure what fits him the best just yet, but I'll definitely cover that in the future. But for the most part, because he's a support, he can definitely run with many different kinds of Psychubes. It's completely fine. You can even run damage taken reduction on him, and it's also going to be okay. So what I'm talking about is probably something like this, navigating, for example, right? Damage taken reduction 3%. This could work if you really want to focus on his survivability. So the best use of Pickles in a team setting is to run him with other characters that needs to use up a lot of AP. So characters like Melania, for example, who needs to push a lot of her ultimates. For other characters like Black Dwarf, for example, yes, I do know that she also is very AP greedy. So just specifically for teams where you're using a lot of your action points into very needed characters, and not just your DPS characters as well. You can also use him in teams with supports that you run their debuffs a lot. So like for example, you have Tooth Fairy for the additional confusion debuff. You may also consider him in a Druvis team, although he's not plant type. But generally speaking, he's a very flexible character because he don't need to take many turns. He can always accumulate back his Moxie as long as he's not taking any actions. So that was a brief overview of what Pickles is capable of. Now let's take a look at some actual combat. So I want to test out Artificial Somnambulism, especially stage 6, because the boss here, he does have a whole ton of buffs on himself, right? The Silent Pianist. So let's see how useful he can be. Okay, so what we're going to do at the start is we're actually going to cycle through all of our skills by just resetting and run all the way, and nice, this is exactly what I wanted to have, right? So Hedonism Impact, by combining this goes from an attacking skill all the way to okay, still an attacking skill, but right now I can dispel all kinds of buffs from up to 2 enemies. So I'm actually going to do it on the boss over here so I can get rid of all of his buffs at the start so that he won't get the rhythm buff, right? Whatever that is. So maybe something like this and then like that. And we can get rid of so many buffs like that. Very nice. Very cool. That's actually so sick. Okay, so right now Pickles has 3 Moxie and I need him to have his ultimate up with Clarified Topic in the next round. So what I can do is I can just move his tiles around like so. Let's say I can waste actions. Or what happens is we will end this round with 5 Moxie, which means he's going to get his ultimate up. But at the same time, because he hasn't taken any action, he will get his Clarified Topic up as well, which means when we drop his ultimate, we will have 3 turns of his damage buff. So I'm going to finish this off by maybe using this skill over here. So we have more space. And we can definitely get his ultimate up within our skill collection, right? Yeah, there you go. So his ultimate is up there and we have Clarified Topic. So this is how we can kind of like use our brain a little bit to figure out what's our best strategy moving forward. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cycle my skills again. I need my defensive debuff again. Yes, I need this clapping skill, right? So we're going to reduce the defense of all the enemies here. We're going to use our doggo to attack the boss, I guess. I'm not really sure what I should do right now, but yeah, this is probably it. Because we will have an attack up buff, this is when we need to start attacking. So we're going to use some of our damaging skills as well. Right, we got our debuffs. And we get our damage bonus. For 3 turns as well, right? See that? 3 turns. Boom. Okay, so now we need to launch all our attacks. Okay, perfect RNG. Take a look at this. Deliciousness. Boom, boom. Full Moxie, by the way. So you can just smack really hard like that. I'll probably not use Pickles to attack just yet because he does not have any Clarified Topic. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to use someone else to attack. So I'll use another one of Centurion's DPS skills. 13k, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. For non-crit at least, right? Uh-oh. Okay, I completely forgot about the gimmick in this fight, which is to use Beacon to ult as soon as possible. Shit. But that's beside the point, okay? That's beside the point. Okay, you're gonna reset again. Debuff, attack, and attack. No crits. Oh my god, rip, Centurion, you suck. Oh, now you finally want to crit. Uh-oh, we are screwed. We are so screwed. No! Okay, there goes our attack buff. But because Soneto is up here, we can actually just reset our skills again, use Soneto's buff instead, and yeah, something like that. And we can also test out what is Pickles' DPS, right? So for example, his skill over here, Nihilism Abuse, 250% mental damage because he is in the Clarified Topic, and he will also gain 1 more Moxie for a total of 4 Moxie at the end of this round. Okay, maybe to give you guys an idea of how good 30% damage bonus looks like, let's actually take a look at what Sonato can do, right? This is going to be the best example. So Sonato with a 2-star skill cut here, damage dealt plus 20%. And at level 3, this goes up to 25%. But Pickles increases your damage output by 30%. I know you're not benefiting from the rest of her buff over here, same as Anan Lee, but I think it's pretty good because it is in itself a damaging skill as well. Okay, so anyway, this was a horrible failure. I just completely forgot there was a strategy behind beating the Silent Pianist, right? I needed to spam beacons out, but yeah, that's how Pickles looks like. But also another thing to take note of is you can stack Clarified Topic, and then when you have many copies or many stacks of it, then you can start spamming your skills, and that will actually generate 2 Moxie each time you use each of your skills. So you can really hypercharge your ultimate very quickly if you have just been letting Pickles sit at the side for the whole time, right? So yeah, that is another strat in itself. But anyway, that's it for this first look at Pickles, and yes, I got super freaking lucky within 4 summons at least. 4 summons, got Pickles, got out. Fantastic. But anyway, if you have any other questions or you want me to showcase him in a certain content, for example, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below, and I will try my best to make sure that that happens. But with that said, if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Reverse 999 content. Now with that said, this has been Derek Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.